This one's hilarious. People are increasingly calling Kamala Harris out for her frequent gaffes during public appearances, her tendency to repeat words, stumble over phrases, and go off on random tangents that adds nothing of value, lead to creating the perception that her speeches often lack substance, with some even questioning her ability to effectively convey important messages. The issue recently came into spotlight after Donald Trump put out a video compilation of Kamala's word salads during his campaign rally in Bozeman, Montana. Jesse Waters also noticed an interesting point about Kamala's speeches, arguing that the media and the left is trying to protect her. But before I delve deeper into it, make sure to subscribe for more discussions like this. Let's check out the clip.
So if you listen to Kamala's speeches, you'd never even know that she's been running the country. I want to show you just one other thing, please. Do you mind putting it up, please? Thank you.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
So you're now no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house. It's on your laptop, and it's then therefore up here in this cloud that exists above us, right?
The Caribbean nations, island nations, in the Western Hemisphere. That is where the Caribbean is. We are also in the Western Hemisphere. They are our neighbors. I am here, standing here on the northern flank, on the eastern flank, talking about what we have in terms of the eastern flank.
Kamala Harris's speaking style was a topic of discussion even before she ran for the presidency. One of the more common critiques is her habit of using repetitive phrases in an attempt to emphasize a point. However, instead of clarifying her message, the repetition leaves listeners puzzled, as it seems to add little to the overall content of what she's trying to say. For instance, in several speeches, Harris has repeated words like significance or importance multiple times in a single sentence, which can make her sound like she's struggling to find the right words or simply trying to fill space, just like I used to do when it came to my high school projects. Kamala also has a tendency to go on tangents that don't necessarily connect with the main point she's trying to make, which leaves people wondering about the relevance of what she's saying. In addition to that, she likes to dumb down and oversimplify topics like she's speaking to a toddler. I always wonder if she does that when talking to foreign leaders as well, but that was only half the video Trump shared. Watch the other half in the next clip.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know? Space is exciting. It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree that there are things and tools that are available to us to slow this thing down. We will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should. Yes. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. It's really difficult to drink out of a paper straw when you had, if you're just, like, if you don't gulp it down immediately, it starts to bend. Yes. And then, you know, the little thing catches it, and then, you know, so we got to kind of perfect that one a little bit more.
Do you know, okay, a bit of a history lesson. Do you know that the women's teams were not allowed to have brackets until 2022?
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea.
AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. As a woman, there's a balance to be struck between being tough and being a Turn that off.
Trump could have made that video 3 hours long and still had plenty of material. Have you noticed the absence of any policy discussions in Harris's speeches? This highlights a deeper issue that Kamala and Democrats as a whole are facing. Simply put, their policy proposals, if they even exist, lack substance and focus instead on catchy phrases. You see, when a politician has a solid foundation of policies to discuss, their speeches tend to be more structured and informative. However, when that foundation is weak or absent, it can lead to a reliance on filler words and vague statements that just don't say much. That's why Kamala's speeches or interviews have been called word salads. The absence of policy stances is also the direct result of the Democratic Party switching their nominee less than 6 months away from Election Day. And now they're adopting a strategic choice of avoiding discussing policies deeply and focusing keeping her speeches vague and non-committal in an attempt to appeal to a wider range of voters. This explains why one Democratic Party aide has reportedly said, quote, she's going to almost exclusively look at the voter like a consumer and sell, adding, do I think that's a long-term strategy? No, but I think the plan is to win and figure it out. Her campaign also has her always reading from the teleprompter and is avoiding doing any interviews or taking any questions. Even the MSM is starting to realize this, where the Washington Post actually published a piece titled, quote, Harris should talk to journalists more, even the wonky ones. But I guess doing interviews also risks exposing her gaffes and untimely laughs in front of the entire nation. However, Jesse Waters has found something interesting that Kamala's campaign is doing recently. Watch what he had to say in the next clip.
The media is treating Kamala like she's vulnerable and needs protection, because she does. She's on a tight leash. They make her read the same speech twice in a row. Watch this.
It really is good to be back in Wisconsin.
It is so good to be back in Michigan.
Listen, let me tell you, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state.
And listen, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
And had a summer job at McDonald's. I had a summer job at McDonald's. So hear me when I say,
So hear me, Detroit, when I say,
I know Donald Trump's type.
I know Donald Trump's type.
And are we ready to fight for it?
And are we ready to fight for it?
And when we fight, we win!
Kamala's approach to politics feels more like a performance in a Hollywood series than a very serious engagement with policy and governance. Her speeches and public appearances are marked by a theatrical style, where her focus seems to be on crafting moments that will resonate on social media, rather than delving into substantive discussion. It was not long ago that she announced Tim Walz being her VP in a highly staged video where they have a spontaneous phone call. On the campaign trail, Harris often projects a persona that seems carefully curated for the media consumption. Her speeches are prepared with catchy phrases and repeated slogans, which, while memorable, lack depth and fail to address the complexities of the issues at hand, and that's why she usually comes across as superficial, because her campaign prioritizes the creation of a narrative over the communication of concrete plans or solutions. And while the dramatization of political messages can attract attention and engage certain audiences, it does risk alienating those who are frustrated with the lack of substantive discourse in modern politics. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Kamala will end up changing her strategy and start giving more genuine speeches? Let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below.